From the 2nd of April, the key thing in terms of procurement law that will apply to CCGs is that they need to understand that as public bodies they're governed by European procurement law. And secondly, that if you run a competitive process, it has to be fair and transparent, and you have to follow due process and make sure that everybody involved in that process knows the rules of the competition. It's important that CCGs have a process in place to ensure that all their procurement is compliant. And the reason it's important is that if the process isn't compliant with legal duties, then there may be the opportunity for a bidder who misses out on a contract to seek redress through the courts or to make a complaint through the competition regulations to monitor. In either case, it's going to cause delay, and in the case of a legal challenge, there'll be a legal bar on that contract being entered into until the court process is resolved. CCGs won't only be buying healthcare services, they'll also have their corporate functions for which they'll need to purchase supplies, for example. There's a different body of law that applies to that sort of commissioning, and CCGs will need to ensure that they comply with that as well. So the key issue there is that if the expenditure is over about £113,000, then there needs to be a competitive process. But below that, there needn't be, although the CCG is likely to have internal procedures that they need to satisfy to ensure that they get value for money. The trend over the last few years, in procurement in general and within the health service, has been a rise in the number of legal challenges and a rise in the number of contested decisions. Bidders are much more likely to challenge a decision now than they used to be. It seems to be much more culturally acceptable within the provider community. That emphasises the need to get the process right in the first place and avoid giving the opportunity for bidders to latch on to a perceived defect in the process. This area needs to be kept under review. The European Parliament is currently reviewing a whole raft of changes to procurement regulation, and those may come in midway through 2014. And if the current proposals are implemented, it's very likely there will be a great deal of change in the procurement of healthcare services in particular.